Hello, I am Ragnarok, and welcome to the Reckoning. So today we are looking at the new magic system and the magic rework for the Age of Calamitous mod for Conan Exiles. So back in, I believe it was January, the magic system for Age of Calamitous was reworked, and now there are magic classes, there are tiers within those classes, there's spells you have to find and learn through feats. There's a crafting station specifically added to the magic system and all that stuff. So we're finally going to take a look at it. What we're going to do is we're going to have one video for each of the magic classes. This video is going to cover the fire magic class. We're going to go over how to get it, where to get it, where to get the tomes. We're going to look at the crafting station, the fuel. Then we're going to take a look at the stats and explain how damage and all that stuff works for the magic spells with the actual casting weapons. And then we're going to look at a demonstration. Okay, so for fire magic, it's actually one of the simplest ones to learn. And we're going to take a look right here. We are at the dregs. It's the vanilla dungeon. So right here at the end of New River, as you can see, for those players that don't know. And if you have the Age of Calamitous mod, you'll have this portal right here. You're just going to go right through it. And we are at the Age of Calamitous faction hall. So this is where you would choose your faction for the Age of Calamitous mod. Now, one thing to say about Magic, or well, one of the things to say about Magic, is that Magic is actually faction restricted. So there are only 3 factions that can actually learn the Magic spells and craft them. Those factions are Felgarth, Cold Embrace, and Elvenor. So if you're one of the other factions of Angul, the Elves, and Stormhild, you cannot learn any of these magics. Now, if you are a clanmate or just know somebody in the server that is one of the magical factions, they can still craft you the spells. You can put it in your, give it to you, and you can put it in your inventory, and you can use magic. You just can't craft it or learn it yourself. Okay, so we're right here in front of the Felgarth, and for them, now to speak to each of these people, you actually have to be this faction. So if I talk to this person right here, it's going to say Felgarth faction required. But right here, the Grand Magus, you're basically looking for the Grand Magus in each of those 3 factions. So if you choose Felgarth, this is the person you're going to come to. So we are here at the Elvenor one. And if you choose Elvenor, you're going to come to this person. And again, I am not Elvenor. Okay, and this one's going to be a little different. And eventually, Felgarth and Elvenor and all are actually going to follow the same suit as this one. The main reason Cold Embrace is different right now is because Cold Embrace is the first faction to get a rework this year. They have sub-factions now, so they have their own portal to their own like sanctuary. Once the other factions are worked on, let's just say, you know, Elvenor's worked on next or Felgarth's worked on next, doesn't matter. Then they will probably have a portal, and their fire trainer will most likely get moved inside of their sanctuary. So for right now, the Felgarth and Elvenor ones are where I showed, but eventually, once they're reworked and they have a portal, which I'll show you what Cold Embraces look like. And again, you have to be Cold Embrace to use this portal. So here's the portal right here. Eventually, Elvenor and Felgarth will have their own. For Cold Embrace, very dark in here. And for the Cold Embrace, there are 3 rooms. That room we showed in one of our Empress Knights video. This room we showed in our Sanguis video, which are the sub-factions that were added. And the room straight, with all the halls, right here on your left, is where the Grand Magus for the Cold Embrace is. Now, I'm Cold Embrace, so I can talk to him. So as you can see, this dialogue is the exact same dialogue you would see with the other factions if you were Felgarth or Elvenor. So the dialogue is exactly the same. Right here is where you learn your fire magic. I already learned it. You're going to want to learn the Ancient Arts. It gives you 2 crafting stations that you may need. And then right here is your tome. So you need 2 things. And this is one of the few... Actually, this is the only one that you can actually do both in the exact same spot. So for all the magic tiers, you're going to learn the magic somewhere, and then you're going to have to get the tome somewhere. That is going to be different for the majority of the other factions. Fire magic's very unique in that aspect. So right here, we're going to learn fire magic, but the tome you purchase here for 10 arcane essence. So as you need tomes, which you are going to need them for certain spells and stuff like that, you're going to have to come back here and get it with 10 arcane essence for each one that you need. Also make note, This is actually pretty important. I've kind of forgot to mention this earlier. When you choose your faction, one of the new things that has been added is when you choose your faction, if you choose one of the 3 magical factions, not only do you get the starter gear, as far as the starter weapon, some starter armor, you also get one of the tomes of fire. So if you choose one of those 3 factions, you actually get a tome of fire for free, basically, when you choose that faction. So make sure you hold on to that, because the first tome you actually need to create, you'll need to use to create the actual altar or the shrine or the crafting station that's specific to that class of magic, or to fire magic. So you don't want to like throw that away thinking, oh, I don't need this, and then realize you need it, because then you'll have to get 10 arcane essence, which isn't super hard, but at early levels, like the first 10-15 levels of the game, probably not as easy. And here we are. Did a nice little decorating. But here is your altar of the sun. So this is what you get when you learn fire magic. You're going to all of a sudden be able to make the altar, or the altar of the sun, which is the crafting station for the fire magic. Right here is your ingredients. As you can see, you need the tome of the fire element, so you want to make sure you hold on to that one that one they gave you for free when you chose your faction. And then here's the rest of the ingredients. As far as feats, all the magics, as you learn them, will show up right here in the weapons tab, and it's going to be right here at the top. So all the magics will populate right above Seal the Light, as of now at least. So you get your first one for free. As you can see, you get the crafting station, the first fire magic weapon, and then the projectile. And we'll explain this in a minute. And then as you can see, level 30, 38, 50, 50 again, 80, and 120. So a couple unique things about the magic shrines or temples, or whatever you want to call them, the magic crafting stations as you get them. There's 2 different things. Right now, there is a thrall that was added. They are the keepers. As you can see, fit right in. Look pretty cool. And just like any other thrall, it basically decreases the amount of mats required by 50% and speeds up the crafting speed. So you definitely want to get yourself a keeper if you're going to be doing a lot of magic. The keepers are restricted to the magical factions, so you are only going to find a keeper for Elvenor, Cold Embrace, and Felgarth. You're not going to find a Vangul keeper, at least for the time being. So make sure you know that and most likely you're only going to find these in the legendary camps. You're probably going to find them in the regular camps too, but the legendaries are going to have a better rate. Also, with the crafting stations, they actually have fuel. So you actually need to put fuel in here, like a wood, basically, to help it to fuel the actual crafting. Except for it's not wood, they actually use gems. So each magic class has its own specific fuel that is specific to it. So for fire, it is actually the Topaz. You put any other gem in here, it's not going to fuel it. Now, depending on which type of the gem you use, the uncut or the full or whatever, depends on how much fuel time is. So right now, my burn rates are at vanilla 1 times. So your rates will probably be different depending on if you're on vanilla rates, higher or lower. But just to give you an idea what you're looking at, I'll take the keeper out actually. So 10 uncut Topaz gives you 3 minutes and 20 seconds. 10 shards, 21 minutes, 40 seconds. And 10 full gems, 1 hour, 23 minutes. So that's actually a good amount of time. You really don't need a lot of these because you're not going to craft. I mean, you're going to be crafting a bunch of these, but you're not going to need, I would honestly say like 10 topazes would probably cover you unless you're like outfitting your entire base of thralls with magic. Okay, so I made it dark just to show the magic off a little better, but let's go into a couple things. So first thing first is you have the fire magic, which when you go to craft it, it shows as a weapon. Then you have the spells, which are shown as the projectiles, magical projectiles. Now, the way this works, the best way to understand it is think of these magic weapons as bows. So you craft it once, except for there's no durability, so you don't have to worry about them breaking. But you craft them once, and they don't do anything. There's nothing they do all by themselves. Now, you craft these, you can think of these as arrows, the projectiles. So I have 1,000 here. I spawned them in for the sake of the video. But every time I cast a fireball, it's going to take 1 away, just like an arrow. So it uses it, you don't get it back. But you have to take the fireball, and you have to equip it into your bow. So I'll slide Inferno over to 3, or Frostfire, and Inferno over to the 5. So as you can see, once you throw it in the slot, it actually shows what arrow you're using in the bow, for example. Now, the way these work, as far as the weapons, you can just think of these as different classes. As you can see right here, basic, rare, legendary, euphoric, and heirloom. So it's just higher, it's stronger bows, better claws. It's the same as like the armors with like flawless and exceptional and stuff like that. The higher it is, the stronger it is. So you're not going to craft all 5. Well, you are going to craft all 5 of these, but you're not going to have all 5 of these in your inventory. Once you make Fire Magic 5, you're only going to have that. You're not going to have all these other ones. On top of that, to make Fire Magic 5, you have to have 4 as an ingredient. Same with, to make 4, you have to have 3 as an ingredient. So you're going to lose these as they go apart, but you're not going to have a bunch of these. You're just going to have one bow and a bunch of different arrows, and you can just throw in the arrow you currently want to use. So that's how that works. Now, the question is how does damage work? And the way it works is the bow has its own damage and armor pen, and then the arrow has its own damage and armor pen. All you're going to do at 0 accuracy is add them together. The base rate is just adding them. So, for example, my Fire Magic 1 has 10 damage and 0% armor pen, whereas my Fireball has 15 damage and 7% armor pen. I add that together, and if I cast this Fire Magic 1 with a Fireball on it, it gives me 25 damage, 7% armor pen, because I added together. That's all it is. So, for example, Fire Magic 3, 22-7 with Frostfire in it is 39-0. The armor pen 7%, and then 22 and 39 would be, what is that, 61? So you have 61 damage at base. Now, just like the magics before, your accuracy, because you, again, we'll use the example of a bow and arrow, accuracy increases damage of magic. So to make your magic do more damage, you increase your accuracy numbers. It's the exact same as bows and arrows. So if you're a magic caster, you're definitely going to want to have a decent, you're going to want to have a decent grit, because when you cast magic, it does use stamina just like any other weapon. And to do more damage per hit, you want more accuracy. So accuracy and grit are going to be your bread and your butter. So next we're going to do a demonstration of the spells. One cool thing about each of the magic classes is that when you equip them, your eyes glow and your hands glow that magic. So as you can see, I'm using fire magic, so I have fire hands, and my eyes are glowing that color of the fire. So that's pretty cool. Now, this is the Fireball spell. It's a light attack only. So if you time them right, you can chain together a little combo. And as you can see, the last 2 were almost like exactly the same. I'm gonna hit one closer here just so you can see it. It's pretty much just a straight shot projectile. It causes burn. Pretty nice. As you can see, my stamina's going down. And that's the Fireball spell. So that's the one you get right off the bat. The next one is the Frostfire. As far as the hands and eyes, they glow the same. But Frostfire actually has a little bit of an AoE effect. So I'm just going to do one on the ground right here. And as you can see, nice little small AoE with a little bit of a burn time. And then we'll move over to Inferno. Inferno's a pretty large AoE. This is the one you get at the very end. And it's pretty bright. As you can see, the reason I wanted to show this at the nighttime instead of daytime. Now, each one of these classes has a heavy attack. It doesn't matter which one you use, whether it's Fire Magic 1 or Fire Magic 5, the heavy attack is the exact same spell. There's no difference except for the amount of damage it does. Now, you would think, okay, so I'm using Fire Magic level 5. I'm actually going to do the heavy attack. I'm going to do 35 damage. Or maybe I'm doing 35 damage plus whatever spell's in there. Nope. The way it works is it's a flat rate. Doesn't matter what spell you have equipped in there. It's always going to do the same amount of damage. So for Tier 1, it's 15 damage. Tier 2... Fire Magic 2, it's 30. Fire Magic 3 is 40. Fire Magic 4 is 50. And Fire Magic 5 is 65. So it does that much damage. And this is actually different for all the different magics. So it's not the same 15, 30, 40, 50, and 65 if you look at like Blood Magic, for example. So the rates are different. For Fire Magic, that's the numbers you're looking at. So let's do a demonstration of the heavy attack, and we're gonna see if we scroll out a little bit just so we can see it a little better. And I think these attacks are pretty cool. That's pretty sweet. And we'll do it one more time. Let's see if we can... Actually, let's do it from the normal point of view. And this is obviously an area effect around you. Pretty cool. Nice little heavy attack. The animation, I think, is amazing. I think they did a really, really good job with that. Okay, so the last thing to be said is there are actually extra spells that you can find out in the world. Currently, there is no extra spell for the fire magic. So there are a couple of obelisks you'll find that will actually give you like additional spells for certain classes. Fire magic, none right now. That may change in the future. If there is, eventually we'll do maybe a extra spell video, or maybe I'll cover the extra spells when I do each class, if there is one for that. So that'd be the fire magic. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so you can get notified as soon as we get out the next magic video. I'm going to be recording these back to back to back. I'm literally going to go into the next magic video right now, right after I hit end on this recording. I already have it all set up. So make sure you hit the sub button so you get notified when the next video gets out. Plus, subscribing to the channel helps the channel out. Leave that bell notification on so you get notified as soon as it comes out. Also, if you enjoy the video, hit that like button. It helps out the channel greatly. Plus, it lets me know that you actually like these kind of things, so I'll keep doing my best. Also, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, or whatever, maybe I didn't cover something or I missed something, feel free to leave that in the comment section, or you can just say, hey, good job, which I love seeing those. I love seeing people enjoying the content, so feel free to leave a comment. I do read them all. It takes me a little while to get back to them sometimes, but I do read them all, so feel free to leave a comment. Also, we stream on Twitch, so check that out. We took a little break from Twitch, actually a longer break from Twitch than we have from YouTube, but we're actually finally getting back to streaming on Twitch, so definitely check that out. Also, we have an amazing Discord, and we have a couple community servers that if you're looking for a PvE server or a heavily modded server, feel free to come over and to the Discord and check it out. It's open to anybody that's part of the Discord community, or if you just want to hang out and ask questions or whatever, get a sneak peek stuff, come over to Discord. Link for both of those are in the description below. Also want to give a nice shout out to the our Patreons and our elite Patreons. I appreciate what you all do. And I appreciate you all sticking with and supporting throughout the extended breaks that we took for moving into a new house and all that stuff. So I appreciate that, and thank you to everyone that's continued to come back to the channel, leave comments, subscribing, liking, and all that stuff. It really does help the channel and it's helped us grow, and it definitely made it a positive thing in my life. So I really do appreciate it. I love doing this kind of thing, and I really hope to keep doing it for the future. So like I said, stay tuned for the next magic videos. Got a lot of cool things coming out that I got in my mind, so as soon as we get these magic videos out, we'll be doing some really cool things. And otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much, and as always, fear the reckoning.